418, Fury Amateur Series returns.
Yeah.
And it is a big one. Good Friday.
Is it?
Good Friday.
Hold on.
Oh, you don't have our schedule?
No, I don't have. You're running a show on Good Friday?
I am.
Are you trying to, like, have people not show up?
Oh, no, they will.
You trying to
They
people, like, you know, that's a holy day, sir.
Listen, blood was shed on Good Friday.
And blood will be shed.
And blood will,
on April the 14th?
April 18th.
18th. See, I don't have the schedule.
Is that good marketing or bad marketing? Would I be disrespecting my Lord and Savior?
I don't think so. I think our Lord and Savior has, like, a sense of humor, and I think he cares for good marketing, especially when it's
He wants to see us sell tickets.
and done right.
He does want to see us sell tickets.
He wants to see us live our best life, be blessed, succeed. Fury Amateur Series. What do you think, Diego?
Blood will be shed. Now, would it be too much to put like some thorns on the poster?
Oh, Ooh, that's a little much, sir.
Okay.
That's a little much.
All right, we're not
sir.
doing it. We're not doing it.
Put some ashes.
I would not, but don't let me tell you how to run your business,
I'm not
sir.
doing
But I would not do that.
So, Hosanna, don't do it.
Yeah.
If you listen,
Hosanna's doing Photoshop right now, like, oh, take the thorns off.
Off of all the fighters. That would be kind of wild, right?
Man.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Instead of
but I mean, originally we were supposed to go out of town and do a show on the 18th, so I kind of had it already blocked off on my schedule. And then me and Rich started building April 27th for Houston, Pro-Am.
Rich, the guy that's not with us today?
Yeah, that
guy.
guy.
Who didn't show up to the studio?
That's the one.
What a dick.
And the amateur portion of the card was just like 30 fights deep. So I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to cut half of these, and we're going to move them and do an all-amateur card. And that's what we did. Bayou City Event Center.
Yeah.
Back to Bayou City.
Back to the Bayou City Event Center. It'd be good to go back through there, man.
Good stomping grounds.
Yeah, man. Good nostalgia trip, man. It's always fun to go back through that building, man. Remember when Dana White came through?
That was...
all the events that we ran there during COVID.
That Dana White one is going to be the most memorable, always.
We need to get him back out here, man.
I mean, it's more of a thing that we need to go wherever they're at.
I know, we need to be where they are.
Yeah.
But we need to make that happen, man.
Because they say he won't visit the same city twice.
You know, he's already been to Houston. Well, he didn't come to Houston twice. He went to Houston and then Denver with us. So.
Yeah. And then years before,
Right,
he did looking for a fight LFA.
He's got to come out to the Boeing Center at Techport in San Antonio.
I don't think he's never done San Antonio, I don't think.
All the more reason.
I think he's done Austin, maybe. I don't know.
Not the same.
Maybe but we have to work that on, like when the UFC did a San Antonio fight night. Yeah. That would have been the one, because we have done a show at the Boeing Center when the UFC was in town.
I remember, yeah.
That was
a very controversial...
That was Edgar Chairez, right?
Yep. Very controversial night in our wonderful history. We should get him out the Cowboys.
And I don't think he'd like Cowboys.
Yeah, I think he'd love it, man.
You think so?
Oh, yeah, dude. Riots in the crowd, people throwing bar stools and shit.
I don't know if he'd like that.
Show Dana how we do it.
And he might be in fear of his life.
In certain areas of Texas, how we do it.
Yeah, I don't know if I want that to be a representation of how we do it.
Maybe Gillies in Dallas.
Gillies would probably be cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't know if he's done looking for a fight, Dallas. So what I need to do is just get the schedule and see when they're going to be in some of these cities we go to. And we need to plan around it. Oh, and it always has to be a Friday, because I don't think he'll stay a day after, but he always comes in the day before. They do weigh-ins and then they head over.
I'm trying to remember, so those weren't Sunday shows that he came out to?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Well, the Bayou City Event Center one was a Sunday. I think they both were Sundays. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even in Colorado.
Maybe that was what pushed him over the edge. Like, I'm not staying over for fights on Sundays anymore.
The thing with Denver, they didn't have a UFC out there, I don't think. He just flew out there and did it and then flew back to... I mean, come on, let's be honest. You got a private jet. You don't have to do it when you're... It's probably easier for him to do it when there's no UFC event.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that. You just fly, go.
He still showed up fashionably late. He's like, I'm not watching an undercard. Yeah. I'm not doing it.
There's 2 fights left, ain't it?
You remember that exhibition boxing fight that we had in Denver?
Yes, I remember that.
The guy was making a big deal about Dana is going to really be upset if he misses my fight. He's trying to get his way closer to the main event.
Well, because
for an exhiction boxing.
The guy was a producer for looking for a fight.
I know. I wasn't going to put a lot of that out there.
So Dana just wanted to see him.
Yeah.
Rory, my boy Rory. Now, why is this light so bright in my face over here?
It's behind you.
I can see it in my eyes.
Rory the mic snatcher. He like snatched the mic out
Did
of my
he take
hand.
it?
In the moment, I didn't like really process what he did. But, like,
And then he was like,
Well, watching it back.
please keep my gloves? It's like, yeah, go ahead.
you know,
16-ounce
it was a
boxing
big
gloves.
deal to him. So.
She made me blind.
I told you. Big weekend for us coming off.
Yeah, man. Coming off Fury FC 102 at said Boeing Center at Techport in San Antonio, Texas. Another capacity crowd. Got live.
Beautiful place, man.
Dude, man.
That was live. It was live.
It was live.
And great.
heard-
Live Friday Night Fury.
Is that gonna be a permanent thing? Kind of like Friday nights.
We're set for August over there
Nice.
on a Friday night.
I love running on Friday nights. Friday nights out of town are a little tricky,
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
touchy.
Yes.
But, you know, yeah, man, I love running on Friday nights, dude. It just kicks the weekend off just
I agree.
right, man.
I still had a good weekend though. Like we ended up, I stayed in town Saturday and did the Submission Hunter photo shoot.
Yeah, I saw that. How'd that go?
Oh, bro, it was packed, like packed, very packed.
Okay, speaking of, I saw the card.
I'm already cutting.
65 fight? Oh, my
I'm
God.
cutting, bro. I'm
Yeah.
cutting. It's hard for me to tell these guys no, but
Just give us a reason.
Do you, yes. Do you know what the determining factor for me is? Is if you ask me to be on the card and then you don't show up for the photo shoot.
Cut.
Yeah. Now, if you talked to me before and said, "Hey, man, I really have these obligations. I
Right.
can't
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Can I send somebody to get tickets for me because I still want to sell tickets? I'm going to send you a photo. Then you show me you want to be on the card."
Yeah. But a no call, no show, that's a good way to get your fight cut.
And I cut probably 6 like that.
All right, so we're down to 59. Diego, there's hope yet
Yeah.
that we might be out of there before midnight.
Yeah. So it's a Sunday and we start at like 1 o'clock. We'll be done by 6 p.m. probably.
No, we
Yeah.
will not.
And it's not a fight pass card.
No, we will not.
Yeah, we will. Sure, we will.
59 fight card.
Easy. You know what? So from now on, what I'm going to do, if we have over 50 matches, everybody's match time is getting cut 1 minute. Every division. So,
I like it.
you know, the blue belts will go to 4, the kids will go to 4, the teens will go to 4, the black belts will go to 6, and like everybody else will go to 6.
I like it from a production standpoint.
That saves time,
I
right?
love it. Yes, it's going to save a ton of time.
Yep.
Now, it's not, maybe ideal for the competitors, but
Listen, man, if you can't finish somebody in 4 minutes,
like Diego does his wife, shit. Boom.
3.5.
woo! 3.5 minutes?
That's all I need.
That's too long.
all.
That's too long.
Oh, man.
That's too long. I could be like
That's
Lester. Lester Senior says, as
PR.
long as I get mines.
Oh, man.
But anyway, San Antonio was good, man. A lot of hiccups
Oh, my God.
with the card itself. With the
Yeah.
we went in with 23.
Yeah, where to begin with all the little, little hiccups and the more major hiccups.
Right.
Dude, man.
But the obvious.
It felt snake bit almost from the moment we walked into the arena, but we got through it. We still put on a quality event with a ton of good fights. I still feel like we over-delivered, even with all those issues that we did have to work through.
It started for me though at weigh-ins. We were at weigh-ins from. You got there at what time? You were there at 8.
Yeah, early.
He was up there at 8, set up the green screen and stuff. Fighters start coming in. 9:30 weigh-ins. Jim shows up at 9:30 to start doing paperwork and stuff. But
Jim with TDLR.
it took us 3 hours plus to run official weigh-ins that morning.
Oh, wow.
It was long. It was very long. We had 12 amateur fights and 12 pro fights or some shit.
Yeah, initially, yeah.
Yeah, and then couple people missing weight and stuff, man. I can't express how important making weight is. And it's an ongoing thing. Every event you have some people that are missing weight, and it's like, dude, if you can't make weight now and figure it out, if it's your first fight, second fight, but once you're 5+ fights in, man, we got to get this figured out, or
You should have it dialed in, right?
move up to another weight class. Make it easy on yourself. Make life
Yeah,
easy.
I don't understand that, man. Like, there's fighters that we've talked to in the past about that. Well, hey, man, what about instead of fighting at 125, fight at 135? That's easier. Oh, no, 125. That's where I've got to fight.
How about when you get them at 135 and then they miss that?
Yeah.
Like, bro, this ain't even your weight class, and now you're missing. Not that that happened this time, but it's happened before.
Right. We're just talking, hypothetical.
But it's happened before. But I mean, our TMF title, that was supposed to go down.
2 major fights. Our main event fell off, and the TMF fell off. Unfortunately for the folks who paid to see that, man. We touched on it on the live broadcast. We brought in Loham Estevez and John Yanez to talk about it. But how unfortunate, man.
I mean, the sad thing is that both fell off after everybody weighed in.
After weigh-ins, yeah.
It's not like we lost it
most
at the
frustrating,
weigh-ins,
yeah.
I know Nate Richardson was sick. He had expressed that he was sick the night before. He came in, weighed in. He didn't really look like himself.
Yeah, didn't you tell me after the official weigh-ins, he talked to you and told you it was a rough weight cut?
Yeah, because he missed weight by 2 pounds anyway.
Yeah.
But Loham was still willing to fight for the TMF. And then a couple hours after, they were like, nah, his manager calls me and his coach is like, man, he's just not himself. So we kicked some things around, and they're going to fight in Houston on March 23rd at 103, and it'll be for the TMF. So originally we had Colton England headlining with Carl Minus. They're going to move into the co-main event spot, and Nate and Loham are going to take the main event. But I'm still going to let Colton and Minus fight 5 rounds. They'll still get their 5-round fight. It'll just be a co-main.
Nice.
So that way they get their time to shine.
It's going to be a hell of a card for the fans, man.
Yeah, it's a good card. We'll run through that in a second. And then
I don't have it, so
Yanez, Yanez and Jesse Rosas, man, made it to the arena. Both got drug tested. Everything's fine, starting to get wrapped up. And the commission...
as we were preparing to go live with the main card, was whenever we got word that there was an issue with Jesse Rosas.
Yeah, so the manager of Rosas calls me to come back there, and I'm like, what's going on? And she said, man, I just feel sick, my stomach and this and that. It's like, dude, maybe it's nerves.
Yeah.
This is the biggest fight of your career in a big arena. Let's control your nerves. Let's figure it out. Let's give you an hour. See if you can come up with it. Raul Rosas is back there with him, and Raul's like, yeah, the same thing happened to me in Mexico City with Ricky, remember?
Yeah, there were a lot of people who pointed that out.
Yeah, well, Raul came back and ended up fighting Ricky and beating him. I just, I don't know if I can trust to bring Rosas back and put him in that spot again as a main event, because I don't know. I mean, if he was sick, he was sick.
Right, for sure.
But
Fighter safety first and foremost.
Yeah, 100%. But man, sometimes
But the timing just, man, golly, couldn't have been worse.
You've got to fight through shit like that sometimes,
I was pretty inspired by John Yanez's confidence. He was walking around, even on weigh-ins, just like glowing.
Yeah, he was
on point.
Just another Friday for John Yanez.
John Yanez is just another animal. You know, he was willing to fight Loham right there at that time for the TMF.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
He was like, man, just let me fight that other guy that lost his opponent for that belt. I said, bro, he's a whole weight class up. Y'all already weighed in. The commission wouldn't have approved that. But he was ready for that, man.
Eric, you're a hell of a salesman.
Big fan.
I think you could have sold Jim on that.
I think that their allowance on paper would have never let that happen. The 10 pounds. It was 10 pounds.
By the time he rehydrates and
they don't go by the rehydration weight. I mean, but other than those two things, I mean, we had a pretty solid card. What do you think? Anybody stand out,
man,
to you?
It's been a few days. So, I mean, I've got to really go back. But Olivia Beerley, she looked good in her fight. She won, all 3 rounds, got the unanimous decision. She was very methodical. She picked apart her opponent. In my mind, I don't really remember a moment where I thought Samantha Brister had any kind of a chance against her. It was just a dominant performance by Yum Yum.
Yeah.
But what an opportunity for Ismail Israelov
to get pushed into the main event.
I mean, as the card evolved, they went from where they were on the spot on the card to co-main, and then more happened, and then they end up in the main event. What a fight! Israelov getting the
not to take anything from
first round knockout,
Ishmael,
47-6.
but I mean, he did miss weight, right?
I believe so.
He missed weight by 2 pounds. So.
Yeah, he came in 173.
Yeah. And I kind of had a conversation with Rich about that this morning, because how much do you think that extra pound or 2 really affects the other guy who made weight?
It depends on who you ask. If you ask said fighter and their coaches, and said fighter lost the fight, obviously they're going to point to that as, hey, man, maybe we should have taken that fight. He didn't even make weight. Our guy did. It was real hard on him. Whatever. There's plenty of, reasons to validate that. So, I mean, it may seem like just a little bit to, the untrained, fan watching at home or whatever. Oh, it's just a couple of pounds. What does it matter? But it does matter. And you got to take a lot of factors into consideration.
I think it matters quite a bit, especially when the guy who made weight has had a hard time and he really depleted his body
to get that weight.
Yeah, versus a guy that had you cut those extra 2 pounds, you probably wouldn't have recovered the same way you recovered by not
making weight,
exerting your body to that point. So I feel like it does have a pretty serious effect, and guys need to be more mindful of that. Richard Mayo was very non-hesitant to take the fight. He's like, man, let me talk to my team, but I really want to fight. And then the dude started rehydrating before Richard Mayo got his okay. And Richard Mayo was like, well, fuck it. I'm fighting anyway. But sometimes a fighter's their own worst enemy, and you got to listen to the guys around you. And I did talk to Richard's manager, and he said, had he known ahead of time, he probably would have told Richard, you're too close to the UFC, man. Like, now you're on a suspension for getting knocked out. You were undefeated.
He was 5-0 going in.
He could have been 6-0 and possibly had a Contender Series shot already.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's unfortunate. But
I will say, and this is just strictly my opinion, for what it's worth, and not to disparage anybody, but watching the replay back, man, I felt like maybe he was kind of pushed down. Whenever he went down, it didn't look like he was dropped per se, and Israelov capitalized on that. He pounced and started throwing the quick punches and whatnot, the ground and pound. But and Nick was in there right away, so it was like almost an immediate stoppage. I felt like maybe at 5-0, maybe Richard Mayo could have been given a little bit of grace to see if he recovered. But he didn't protest the decision. He was very accepting of it. So who am I?
That was my biggest, is that I didn't see any protest from the corners or anybody. So I think he would have took some extra damage for no reason. And speaking of the same,
you're a pro. You're in the main event.
Well, yeah. I mean,
hey, Rex would have let him go till he.
Who was it? Nick.
Bled. Yeah. Nick Gonzalez.
It was
the
Nick the Ghost. And then there was some earlier on the opener of the main card, or the second fight of the main card, was Dallas Dodd, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that stoppage?
Man, all right. So Danielle Guevara, very competent referee.
Very.
I feel like she's very early in her career, though. I feel like as she referees more and she gets more under her belt, more experience, more years, I feel like that kind of a knockout, she maybe gauges the fighter a little more, sees how he responds, because Dallas Dodd, I mean, flash knockout, you can't get dropped like that and really argue too much. She erred on the side of caution, stopped it immediately, but it reminded me a lot of the Corpus Christi fight where Nico Echeverry got dropped, and Frank Collazo jumped in and stopped it right away, but by the time he jumped in to stop it, Nico was already back on his feet with his fists up, ready to keep going. So, I mean, questionable stoppage, but fighter safety comes first. You can't really argue with it because, I mean, it was a flash knockout. Dallas got dropped, landed on his back like that.
I went back and watched it, and a lot of people would have argued, well,
I feel like Dodd could have recovered.
Yeah, when he got up, he looked real shaky and whatever. Yeah, but who's to say he would have got up that quick had she let the fight go on? It looked like he already had an undercook. He had one butterfly in.
Yes.
He would have hung on for a little while. Maybe Kent exhausts himself. Yeah. They get back up, Dodd recovers, and who knows what happens?
Exactly.
I
guess we'll never know.
We have a young prospect that has lost 2 in a row. Almost the same exact way.
Yeah.
Very flash knockouts. And this kind of shit will ruin a career.
Potentially. Yeah, man. Dallas Dodd, he's got to go back to the lab and figure something out, man.
Not that it's going to completely destroy his career. He's young enough.
He's still very young and got plenty of time to recover. But, man, you just don't want to end up in that situation. You don't want to keep ending up in that situation.
Yeah, so it's
Cam Smotherman, if you remember, years back.
Carlos Jimenez fight, remember that?
Yeah. Carlos Jimenez dropped him, and he face planted, went down, but he came back up. He recovered quickly. The fight could have continued, I felt like, but the referee stopped the fight because it's a flash knockout. It's not it's not a wrong call. I mean, the guy was knocked out. They got to protect the fighter. So I mean, but it reminded me a lot of like that fight and fights like that. You know, I mean, you got to do something to make those adjustments and not end up in that position.
How about the orangutan?
Damian Orande.
Man.
You're going all out of order, man. I was all prepared to try to go in order. And,
Well, I'm just looking at standouts.
Yeah, man. No. 336 in the first round. Tap out with the armbar, man. The orangutan improves to 2-1 over Michael Blockus.
And Blockus is a stud.
3-0 going in.
Blockus
man.
is a stud
Yeah,
coming
he's
in there.
legit.
Legitimate wrestler. How's that drink, Diego?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not too deep.
Mine
Into
is
the
too
water.
deep. Mine is too deep. I can't take this no more. It's got a lot.
Top you off with some
No.
more.
Get some,
I'm good.
put some water in it.
Yeah, but I'm glad. I was happy to see Damian get the win. He went through adversity a little bit because Blockus was giving him a beating, and I can't wait to see Blockus come back because I know he's going to come back hell.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that was Michael Blockus. That was his first fight with us, right?
Yeah, he's undefeated. He was
Got him
undefeated.
at
That was his pro debut,
3-4
right?
fight deal.
No, he's 3-0.
Oh, 3-0.
No, he's 3-0, bud.
Yeah, 4-fight deal.
4-fight deal. So yeah, man, I look forward to seeing him come back, man.
About this kid.
Action Jackson Glass, the 17-year-old phenom.
I feel like he had a tough fight though. That was a tough
That was
debut.
a tough fight. That was a tough fight.
You know,
man.
that fight didn't go the way his Amy fights did.
No,
He looked
man.
amazing, don't get me wrong, but that kid that Adrian Yanez brought was great. You know, he put up a good fight.
Yeah, it goes all 3 rounds, unanimous decision, 30-27 across the board for Jackson Glass. So I mean, as tough of a fight as it was for him, you know, the judges saw a dominant performance out of him.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think
Impressive
no doubt
nonetheless
that
for
he
a
dominated.
17-year-old. My kid is 17.
I know. Mine is too.
There's no way I would want to see him in a MMA cage.
No, man.
But
no.
dude, this kid's legit, man.
I thought
He's
about that
got
too
it.
because I talked to Jackson's mom and dad, and I'm like, man, you gotta be different. They're just very confident because that kid's good.
Of course, they're
That
confident
kid's
in their
good.
kid's ability, and they don't want to hold him back. They want to let him pursue his dreams.
Yeah,
I'm
if
sure.
this is what
so.
you want to do. We're behind it. And honestly, if my son put as much training into it as he does, and this is what he wanted to do, I mean, who am I to tell him, man? I don't want to see you get punched. Or it is what it is, man. Jackson's going places.
Yeah. We ain't got no 401k, son. You better go to the UFC.
Yeah. All I
kid.
All I got is fighter insurance. That's hell to deal with.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest, trust me, guys. And I got to deal with it. Anybody else stand out?
Oh man.
There's a couple of amateur fights there.
Yeah.
Irakli Kuchuhize and Baisangur
Baisangur, huh?
Susurkayev. Dude.
Hey, just you saying those names.
What? Yeah, that was.
I was impressed.
In and of itself, man. Hey, no. I can't take very much credit for that. Eric brought a gentleman by who's from the region who helped me with the pronunciations. I would have butchered them both. I'd have got close, but I wouldn't have said it right.
And it was literally right before they walked out almost, right?
Dude, I was like begging Eric, dude, somebody.
I went to the back and grabbed
somebody
two.
has to go and help me get these pronunciations. I don't want to do the fighters a disjustice,
No,
and,
right. I agree.
You know, call them a name that doesn't really sound right. You know, it kind of throws them off. Right before a fight when they're going into battle.
Not only that,
I
want
wanted to be pumped up. I wanted to do their thing. Man, one of the fans in the crowd when I was walking off said something like, "Dude, man, good job on those names," or something to that effect. I just kind of acted like I was doing those.
I mean, where else do you see a card that has those type of guys
Dude,
fighting
man,
each other?
Did you fly these guys in from Dagestan in Georgia? Not Atlanta, Georgia, but like the over yonder Georgia.
I'm assuming that's where they're from, but they are living in the States now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look at the whole top end of the card, like everybody, all these 4 were all out of town guys, right? The co-main and main.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you look at records and stuff, it's like, bro, we got some serious talent, man.
Without a doubt.
How about the debut of Terrence Chapman?
Terrence Chapman.
Yes.
Heavyweight debut.
Fighting
Him
with
pointing at
Thumper.
the injury.
yeah.
He fought Thumper.
Yeah, he fought Eric Thumper Prito, both of them making their pro debuts.
He's a tough dude.
Terrence Chapman getting the TKO doctor stoppage 10 seconds in round number 2. See, so he had some comments about that. We didn't even go to the second.
Yeah.
It's a technicality. It's a formality. You didn't stop him. You didn't finish him in the first round, so it becomes a 10-second. They have to put some time on the clock. It could be 1 second.
They should have put. They should have put 1 second.
But you know, it's just a formality. It's what they do. 10 seconds, round number 2. Jim did give me the options. Well, you can say 5 minutes at the first round, but Jeff Rexroad, who has taught me a lot about going by the book, taught me that technical stoppage.
Did you see
10 seconds into the next round? That's why it's a formality.
Did you watch the UFC this past weekend with Cejudo?
I did not.
So he got
poked in the eye
in the third round, I think.
Yeah, and couldn't see, had to stop it. Man, I think a lot of people make light of that. Like the eye pokes. Oh, come on, man! You got 5 minutes to recover. Well, sometimes that's not enough.
He took the whole 5 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes that's not enough. And man, it's a great opportunity to sidebar. Do you think that eye pokers should be penalized more? Like, there's no penalty for it.
I mean, I don't think it's intentional, though.
That's questionable. I've seen John Jones in interviews say, "Yeah, I do it. Yeah, I do it.
I poke their eyes on purpose."
It's an advantage. Yeah, I do it.
Not the
And,
eye poke,
hey,
but the,
maybe it's tongue
Yeah,
in cheek
well, I
or not.
mean,
But
this
if
is
you,
just-
you watch, nah, he throws them, dude. I'm telling you.
Like the water boy?
Should they? Yeah.
You remember that?
Hey, but like this past weekend's fight, the heat falls on Henry Cejudo for not continuing. Oh man, he
Well,
should've-
the reason where I was going with that is, so he got poked at the end of the second or end of the third. I don't remember. I think it might have been at the end of the second round. He took the whole 5 minutes. There was still maybe 20 seconds or so left. The referee restarts it. The fight keeps going. Bell rings, and Henry's telling his coaches, "Man, I can't see at the end of the round. I can't see, whatever." So the referee, the other guys are like, "Dude, what's going on? We're gonna have a no contest, whatever." And I'm trying to remember who the referee was. Jason Herzog.
Okay.
He says, "Well, I got to start the third round, and then I'll stop it and wave it off, bring the doctor in, and then we'll." Even though Henry had already said I can't continue in between rounds, he says, "And I have to do that so we can go to the scorecards." Like they have to technically start the round. It might have been at the end of
Makes
the third.
sense.
So then the other side, because Henry was clearly losing the fight regardless.
Okay.
Then the other side's like, "Oh, okay," they stopped bitching and they're like, "Okay, we're good with it because now we're gonna win a decision." But before that, they thought that they were gonna.
Like, it was going to be a no contest or something.
So my thing is, had Jason Herzog not started the third round or the fourth round and stopped it in between rounds and just didn't let him come back out, would it have been a no contest?
I don't know. I think after 3 rounds they can go to the scorecards.
Scorecards.
Yeah.
So
I
you have to
believe.
start the fourth round, maybe.
Yeah. If you've got 3 rounds in, I think you can go to the scorecards. But man, that's great refereeing on Herzog's part.
Right. He wanted to get a
start it
decision.
back up, and we got to get to the cards. Yeah.
And he's a good ref. He referees those Fight Pass Invitationals too.
There's no.
That you and Diego don't go to.
Say what?
The FPIs. Dude, how about
What's that?
Malija?
Malika Valerie Soto getting the unanimous decision over Veronica Vargas, the Raven, who's 4-0.
Yeah.
Going into that one, man. So she was no joke.
I'd like to see Veronica come back and fight like a Mia Graw,
That'd be fun to watch.
right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I was trying to book her. I think she's going to be out till like June. But her and Mia would be great.
I've been seeing some videos and pictures out of War Training Center. I see Mia Graw is in there grinding. So
She's ready for April.
I was about to ask, has she been in conversations with you about trying to get back in the cage?
I have her name down for April. So I just got to find somebody that'll...
It's been over a year, huh? It's been a while.
Yeah, that'll say yeah and show. She's been in Colorado actually doing camps with some of those girls out in the
Badass.
UFC.
Yeah,
so
there's some.
she's moving around. But hats
Good
off to
camps
Val.
up
That moves
there.
Val to what? 6 and...
Yeah, 6-4. She improves to 6-4. I guess she's still got an outside chance. She rattles off a few more
How old
wins.
is she?
I don't know. I don't have her age on the card.
I
but-
think 8 and 4 looks okay.
Yeah. As long as she gets to double the losses, that puts her in contention to get
8
some
and
kind
4
of a
doesn't
call
look
up,
bad.
right?
Yeah, I think so. We move to the amateurs, man. I thought Drew's guy, Steven Uwald,
Yes, my new favorite fighter.
that kid,
Steven Ewald picks up the
205 title.
light heavyweight championship. That kid's just relentless, man. He's
He
very
never stops.
methodical. You see, like in his mind, like he's not getting in his emotions. He's not getting worked up. He's not getting rattled. He's just he's like the Terminator, like Drew nicknamed him.
Is that his nickname?
Yeah, Steven the Terminator Ewald. His blocks, his punches, his combinations, everything he does, it's like He's remembering what he's done in class or, you know, in camps and whatnot. He's just straight ahead. He doesn't get rocked. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't, like, you know, take a shot and come back emotional, like, oh, now I'm going to knock you out. Everything is methodical with him.
Well, Drew told me a story, though. He said the first time that he, not his first fight, but his last fight with us, he was fighting that Lane Christensen. They call him the Bear. And that Steven's telling Drew the story after the fight. He's like, man, we were fighting, and the dude hit me, and everybody in the crowd went, oh.
Yeah.
And he was like, in my mind, he's like, the first thing I said, oh, fuck this, I'll show y'all. Oh. He goes, and then I just went and knocked him out.
Nice.
So I'm thinking, like, when I watch him fight, I'm like, man, what's going through this kid's head?
Yeah.
And he was getting hit a little bit and just still walking forward. And
yeah, man.
I expected it to be a lot tougher fight than it was. And man, he kind of made it look easy.
Picks up a belt in the process. What'd you think about Alan Gonzalez and Dragon Davila?
Man, I mean, that was a banger, right? Back and forth. Alan's a showman. Dragon's, I love Dragon. You know, the kid's been competing with us since he was a kid in Submission Hunter, you know, and now to see him growing up in the Fury cage as well, I hate to see one of the guys lose, especially out of those two, but there always has to be somebody who wins, somebody who loses, obviously. But great experience. I think he comes back stronger, and congrats to Alan, man. He looked great. Very crisp hands, and he, like I said, he's a showman.
What do I know, man? Split decision for
Alan
Gonzalez.
It was a close fight.
You guys switched the order on me, so like I called the fighters out of order, and I don't know if we should dive into it yet, but one of the guys got picked up by the Popos before the event started, so I confused this fight with that guy. You know, the names are similar, they start similar, so yeah, I was like, oh, this one's off, and I scratched the card up, and then Rich was like, no, that one's still happening. I was like, wait a minute, but oh yeah, that's. So you can see my notes. I'm like, oh shit, let me let me go through that.
Oh, that's what happened.
Little fun behind the scenes, right. You know.
Yeah, people don't understand.
Shit was happening all night.
Like, even though we make the show look flawless, there's a lot of things that we deal with all night long, always. I don't think there's ever been a show where I go sit cage side and never get up. Like. No. I mean, I was jumping barricades.
That's a luxury. Are we talking about that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I was.
My instinct when I see you have to go over the rail to deal with anything, whether it's you know, a fight in the crowd or just, you know, whatever, man. My instinct is to follow you out there. Like, I don't let my boys go out, you know, into the
battlefield,
man. Like, if you remember in Denver, that looking for a fight card right before we went live, like minutes before we went live with the main card. There was a fight out in the crowd, and like Ricky and Mark were out there or whatever, like on their own. I was like, man, fuck this, dude. I like, you know, jumped out there and went to help them, you know, pull people apart and shit.
Did Mark go viral from that?
Yeah.
Probably. But yeah, man, watching you hop the rail and, you know, go out into that, you know, the sea of humanity is like, oh, no.
It's like, man, this is supposed to...
Anything can happen.
100%. Well, luckily, like, this type of venue is very... good on security stuff, like metal detectors, no weapons. You know, they check for all that because things get pretty nasty if you have.
It can.
If you go to a place that doesn't, like Humble. When we used to do Humble Civic Center, I mean, we would have wands and look in bags and pat people down, but I think it's a lot different than you going to the Toyota Center for a Rockets game.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do at that level in a venue like that. You know, you go to a bigger arena like that, you've got to have metal detectors and a more of a security presence.
All in all, good scrap. The whole card was great. I was happy with it.
Was that a good scrap that you went
out? No, with Alan and Dragon.
How about the swing bout, man? High def Eddie Freire getting the first round TKO over Ruben Martinez.
Oh yeah, I mean Eddie, that's a good win for him. He needed to stay in the win circle.
He improves to 7-4. I was telling somebody, you know, before that fight started, probably Joel Ojeda, you know, the referee, if I had to take a guess. I was like, I don't know if this is going to last long because, you know, whenever Eddie has a chip on his shoulder, he's got something to prove. We've seen him do it a number of times, man, ending a fight in under 30 seconds. I was like, man, I think this one, I'm predicting first round, might be under a minute. He almost made it out of the first round, 4:45, gets a TKO over Ruben Martinez, improving to 7-4 in the process.
Yeah. Real quick, just let's run through these amateurs, just the results.
How about Alex Lawal and Alex Carlson, the battle of the Alexes?
That was just a one-hitter quitter.
It ends up not being a title fight. They both, missed weight by a couple of pounds. But yeah, Alex Lawal getting the knockout 1 minute 14 seconds into the very first round, representing War Training Center well. They got a bunch of killers out there, man.
Yeah, she did really well, man. She's looking to go pro now, so I'm looking forward to seeing her hopefully on the Fury roster if that's the route they decide to take. Americo Garcia beat Julian Nato, right? I think it was a decision.
Was it a decision? Yeah, unanimous decision for Americo Gordy Garcia.
Gordy will be making his pro debut soon.
Yeah, finishes his amateur career 6-4, pro debut.
And how about
incoming.
Emmett Epperson?
Emmett Epperson, TKO in the first round, 1 minute 26 seconds over Caden the Rage Atkinson, who was 3-2 coming to this one. Emmett Epperson improves to 4-0 in the process.
So
What's next for him?
I booked him yesterday.
Yeah.
Versus Jay Aldretti.
Oh, so is that the title fight coming up?
418.
On 418?
Yeah,
Okay.
buddy.
Man.
4-0 versus 4-0.
What you gonna do?
Somebody's
brother?
So imagine how that arena's gonna go. Jay brings a crowd.
Gotta go. Yeah, Jay always sells a bunch of tickets. Emmett's out of San Antonio. It's only a 3-hour drive, man.
He was very excited for the opportunity.
Maybe he could round up some people to
and
make
Emmett's
the trip
good
as well.
Emmett is good.
If I'm Emmett Epperson, and
What does he
I'm
call
not,
himself? The Demon?
the Demon Warrior. If I'm Emmett Epperson, maybe I get a sponsor to donate a party bus. And maybe I round up some of my people from San Antonio and we make a 3-hour drive to Houston. So I've got some hometown support
When you're the main
at the
event,
Bayou City
title
Event
fight.
Center. Yeah, man. Just an idea.
When you have a title fight like that, I mean, it'd be nice to have at least 25 people in your corner, right? Cheering and shit. You don't want to be the guy that has nobody.
At least, man.
But then some guys strive off that.
Some guys do.
It's like, okay, I'm about to smoke this dude in his hometown.
Yeah,
then you got to run to your. Then you got to run to your car after the fight's over. Especially if you're fighting Jay Aldretti.
Okay,
so if I'm gonna
tires poked.
If I'm gonna be honest, these two boys come from a similar background when it comes to attitude and how they face off and their teammates and shit like that. So I'm hoping that weigh-ins don't go sideways.
Maybe we don't get them too close. Maybe, we have, you and Rich.
Because Emmett ain't no punk. I'll tell you that. And Jay definitely ain't either.
Jay isn't either. But Jay is, I don't know. I didn't see Emmett at the weigh-ins this last time. I don't know if Emmett Epperson will stir the pot. I know Jay will.
Yeah, well, I know that Emmett will welcome it.
Yeah.
He won't shut it down.
So we might need an extra body or two at the ceremonial weigh-ins just to keep them apart,
Right.
make them pay for it, at the Bayou City Event Center the next day. Don't be giving away the fight for free at a weigh-in.
I'm very excited for that fight, though.
Yeah, Reese Machen, moving on, gets the win over Adrian Palacios.
TKO
in round number 1, 1 minute 40 in. Reese Machen improves to 2-0 in the process.
I like Reese.
Yeah, I know you're
I like
real big
Adrian,
on
too.
him. And Adrian, man, he's one of those guys. 0-3 after this
But
one.
he's tough,
But
man.
God, dog, yeah, man. He is tough as nails.
You remember
Plenty
his
of time to
brother?
recover from this.
Rick?
Yes.
Rick used to go out there and dogfight anybody.
Yeah, at Cowboys.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I remember him at
He was
Cowboys, man.
about it. Yeah, he was definitely about it.
For sure. And then Isaac Torres getting a unanimous decision over Devontae George, 4-3 for Isaac Torres. And Manuel Hernandez, Ryan Perez.
This was Manuel Hernandez's third attempt to fight, and he finally got him a fight.
Finally got his amateur debut, and he gets a split decision over Ryan Perez. Good win for him.
The first time I booked this poor kid, his opponent got sick after weigh-ins, went to the hospital, fight was off. Second time I booked him, made it all the way, weighed in, faced off, made it to the venue. An hour before they're about to walk out, his opponent's sick, didn't make it. So finally, I was like, man, I know this is this kid's debut. He's his second fight of the night. I really need him to fight. And Ryan Perez showed up, made it happen.
Made it happen.
Yeah.
And, Kicking things off, Colin Rogers get a TKO over Jacob Sanchez, 2 minutes, 50 seconds into the very first round.
That fight, when it started off, though, it didn't look like it was going Colin's way. Jacob came out firing.
Yeah.
And I think he dropped him and rocked him, and Colin recovered, and then he came back. And second round TKO?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking got his marbles together and turned it around.
First round.
First round TKO.
First round
I love
TKO.
those type of fights, man.
Yeah.
And somebody's getting their ass beat, and then all of a sudden,
Tide turns.
the tide turns.
The momentum changes.
And that's the way to start a night. That's definitely.
Any given Friday, anything can happen. One we skipped over. Isaac Vasquez, the Candy Man, picking up his first pro win over Mo Bow Down Oropeza. Gets the unanimous decision.
We hadn't seen Mo in a long time, and last time we saw Isaac, he had a really tough fight.
Yeah, man. Isaac is another one of those guys that's just a dog, man.
Yeah,
like,
he is.
You can hit him with everything, even the kitchen sink, and he's just coming forward. He ain't going down. I don't think I've ever seen him get dropped.
You watched the Rockets last night?
The Rockets.
You keep up with the Rockets?
Man, I know they're doing really well this season. Sky's the limit for them. But man,
It was a close
NBA
game.
just isn't what it used to be for me, man. It's
Yeah,
hard to watch.
same here.
No.
Live, I can go watch a live game. It's always more fun live to be in the arena, right, Diego?
Yes.
It's always more fun to be
That's
in the
right.
arena. I can go watch a Rockets game live and have a blast. Man, to sit there and watch it on TV, the NBA is a tough watch, man. I tried to watch the All-Star game a couple weeks ago. It's just tough, man. It's not the game
I
that
went
I
last
grew up
night.
loving.
I love the games that are neck and neck all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And like the last 5 minutes of the fourth period, it was a 2-point game.
Nice.
And then it was tied. Then it was 2 points. Then tied. Then it was 2 points. Then tied. And I took my son and a couple of his buddies, so they had a blast. His two friends hadn't been in years, so they were very grateful. But to go watch a good basketball game and see it that close, and the Bucks got the ball like right at the last. There was like 8 seconds.
Yeah.
I can't remember the player's name who's known for hitting this three-pointer right at the buzzer. Anyway, he gets.
Was it Giannis?
No.
Antetokounmpo?
That's the 6'11" guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was running. One of EJ's friends swears that this guy can.
They all shoot threes now, though.
That this 6'11" guy can make it across the court in 3 steps.
Well, 3 NBA steps. They travel out the ass these days.
Yeah.
They don't call that anymore. So.
3 steps and 3 dribbles.
Yeah.
He gets across the court. But anyway, we were on our toes because the dude gets the ball, he shoots it, and luckily it's in and out. But had he made it, we would have went to overtime or something. Or they would have won the game,
So
actually.
Rockets win it at the end.
Rockets. And they play again tonight. I think they're playing San Antonio tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Man, I used to go watch the Rockets play the Spurs back in the day, man. Good times.
Good basketball was Hakeem Olajuwon,
Man.
Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith,
Never a better
back to
time
back.
in
What was that, 95? Robert Horry.
Yeah, 94 and 95, back to back. Man, I feel like the Rockets, they ended up trading Robert Horry and Sam Cassell to get Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
What a mistake in hindsight, man. Like at the
The
time.
round of mound.
Oh, the round mound of rebound.
There
man.
you go.
But yeah, he just wasn't the Barkley that that he was earlier in his career.
What was he, at the Sixers? 76ers?
No, he was with the Suns whenever we got him.
No, but his first
His
career.
heyday, yeah. He
He-
came into the league with the 76ers and, had quite the reputation. Free agent, signed with Philly, I think. I don't think they traded him. I think free agent.
When he was with
It's
the
been forever.
When he was with the Suns, who was his right-hand man over there? He had
Man, he had Dan Marley was on
Dan
that
Marley,
team.
yeah.
You had Oliver Miller coming off the bench at center. Golly, Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson is
had
what I'm
a
thinking about.
Poster dunk over Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yes.
Man, I read a funny story.
I remember that.
He apparently, Kevin Johnson, sent a poster over before one of the games of that dunk and had a ball boy or somebody ask Hakeem to sign it, and Hakeem was like, "No, thank you," and then proceeded to do what Olajuwon did in big games and embarrassed Kevin Johnson. Johnson was just sincerely asking, "Hey man, will you sign this picture?" Fuck you, no.
But my son and his friends, before we went to the game, they were like, all right, Mr. Garcia, top 5 NBA players, best in NBA history. Who's your top 5? And they were all LeBron, Steph Curry, whatever.
That's fine.
I mean, MJ was at the bottom of their list.
We grew up.
This is what I tried to explain to them, so I want to see if your thoughts the same.
personally, I mean, LeBron, you can make a case for LeBron top 5, all right?
Yeah.
LeBron can be top 5.
Right.
I'll give you that. But he's not 1. He's not even 1A. To me, LeBron isn't even better than Kobe. So I've got MJ at the top. I've got Kobe right behind him. And then, like, the last 3 in the top 5, man, it's subjective. Dude, what about Bill Russell? What about Dr. J?
I said Julius
Guys
Erving.
that these kids today, like, when we were coming up, we kind of had a history lesson in those guys because they were still showing highlights of those guys.
Do you give
from
Magic
those
Johnson
years.
any credit?
Magic Johnson, you know, he's the only human in history to beat AIDS. Congratulations to him. I don't have him in my top 5, though.
What about Larry Bird?
You know, I want his doctors if I ever end up in a bind.
Right.
Man, Larry Bird, man, dude, he was as lights out and as clutch as it gets. But, you know, he doesn't get the respect that I feel like he deserves because, I mean, there's been so many great players, and especially, like, you know, this era. I don't know, man. The game has changed a lot, but they are more athletic. They're all freaks of nature.
Right.
That's what there are. So
Super impressive
their
athletes.
argument was Jordan played against lesser competition
God damn it, that shit pisses me off
Back
over here.
then.
That. Are you trying
versus what LeBron played against.
You know, what they try to do, okay, whenever you talk about like Bill Russell winning 8 NBA championships, the argument is, oh, you know, half the league were plumbers and mailmen at that
Right.
time. This generation is trying to impose that same argument on the Michael Jordan era. Are you
Right.
trying to tell me that Akeem Olajuwon was a mailman? You're trying to tell me that, you know, Karl Malone was a plumber? You know, give me a break, dude. There's not a better player in NBA history than Michael Jordan.
I agree.
Hands
I
down.
agree.
And we can, you know, go back and forth and debate people all day, but ultimately people are going to decide what they want, you know, based on their own experience, their own opinion. These kids these days, they don't know shit. I'm just an old man.
Well, my team is the Harlem Globetrotters. I like that.
Well,
Well, I
you
don't
go.
think any of them will be
There you
in
go.
top 5.
hey, Curly Neal is the
Yeah.
greatest player ever in Diego's book.
And then they were like, well, greatest 3-point shooter ever.
Hey, man, that's where you got a case for Steph Curry.
What about Vernon Maxwell?
Dude, Vernon Maxwell's great, but he's not the greatest three-point shooter
Yeah.
ever. He was a great defender. He was a great gritty player. Dude, he
What about John Stockton?
Shut down Michael Jordan. You know, John Stockton. I love John Stockton. He's a great player. He's not in the top 5. But man, going back to Vernon Maxwell, he's one of the only guys like Joe Dumars knew how to defend Michael Jordan, and Vernon Maxwell knew how to defend
Vernon
Michael
Maxwell.
Jordan. You go back through those like early to mid 90s years, and Jordan doesn't score more than 30 points against the Rockets ever. The Rockets had a very favorable matchup against the Bulls, and for all the back and forth, people, oh, well, Jordan was out of the league. You know, the Rockets are lucky that Jordan retired those years. Well, first and foremost, Jordan was back for 95.
Right.
Jordan was back, and he was scoring, you know, 40, 50 points a game. He had the rust shaken off by the time playoffs came around. They couldn't get past the Magic, who the Rockets swept that year in the finals. So that's a moot point to me. But the Rockets had a much more favorable matchup against the Bulls. And Jordan will even tell you there was only one player in the league that scared him, and it was the African in Houston, Akeem Olajuwon. We had very favorable matchups against them. We'd always split during the season. And I was a huge Jordan fan. It was like the one time of the year I would root against the Rockets, and they'd break my heart because they'd make Michael Jordan lose a game or whatever. So
One thing I never got to do, which I would have loved to, is go watch the Rockets play Jordan here in Houston.
yeah, man.
And I
missed
never-
out on it. Missed out on it.
You never got to either?
No, never did, man.
Was there any big names that you got to watch them play here in Houston?
Man, I went one year. A buddy of mine has season tickets, and his brother-in-law always went to the games with him. But for some reason, his brother-in-law couldn't make it to this one game, and it was against the Seattle Supersonics in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that was Houston's Achilles heel. The Sonics had a much more favorable matchup.
Who was the Sonics guy?
Sean Kemp,
Sean Kemp.
Gary Payton,
Yeah.
Detlef Shrimp,
Sean-
Derek McKee, like all these names, dude.
Sean
like,
Kemp was like their big guy, like the Jordan, right?
Oh,
With
yeah,
the
yeah,
crazy
yeah.
dunks
Dude, he
and
was
shit.
a beast, man. One of my favorite players. The 90s was the greatest era of basketball to me. I was a kid, grew up watching that.
Do you think that we
I
are
loved Sean Kemp.
that we're biased to the 90s because we say it's the greatest sports, it's the greatest music,
Of course. Well,
you know, great
90s
movies.
R&B, how can you argue? 90s R&B and 90s country. I mean,
How do you beat it?
when? What era is better?
So then you go into the basketball, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the Astros?
Boxing.
Boxing.
Now, dude, the 90s.
The 90s were the Oilers still, right?
Very great era. Oh, yeah, they left like 96. But, you know, God, dog, man.
See, so the 90s.
The Oilers, man, broke our hearts in 93, that Buffalo loss.
Yeah.
But going back to the Astros, man, we had a lot of fun teams to watch.
Right.
Love Bagwell, Biggio, and a lot of the lesser-known guys, you know, like Steve Finley and Pete Incaviglia, Ken Caminiti, a lot of those. The Astros had some great teams that were fun to watch, but they didn't have great teams that, you know, were World Series caliber until like the late 90s. So, I mean, I don't know. But 90s baseball, you had Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, the home run chase that kind of saved baseball after the 94 strike that shut down the season early. A lot of fans were turned off by that. A lot of fans left and didn't come back until the home run chase with McGwire and Sosa. So still golden era of baseball. But I love the 80s as well. So it's hard to say that the 90s, you know, is the best.
But 90s, you say like movies too. 90s movies?
Yeah.
Late 80s, early 90s. But I'm like, are we biased because we grew up on that? It's just the greatest.
100%. No argument.
Yeah.
No argument.
Speaking of Astros, what do you think about Breggy?
Man.
Going to Boston.
Oh, don't get me started. That guy knew all along what he was going to do. I took Avea down. They you know, did the
signing?
sports show thing. Yeah, man. Took Avea down because Bregman is Avea's favorite Astro.
Okay.
You know, this last season.
Yeah.
It changes every year. Once it's Pineda, then it's Altuve. Last year was Bregman. So took her down, got a picture with Bregman. We're talking to him. I'm like, hey, man, you know, after the season, I know you're not negotiating now, man, but after the season, dude, you're her favorite Astro. You got to re-sign. You know, just having some fun with these. Like, oh yeah, I know, but I know. He'd already sold his house in Houston, moved to Phoenix. He knew a long time ago what he was going to do. He could have saved everybody a lot of, you know, suspense and drama.
What was the deal that he got?
3 years, $40 million per year.
Okay.
It comes out to more per season than what the Astros offered. The Astros offered him, I think, 5 years, like 165 or something, 156. I don't remember the numbers at this point because they don't fucking matter. But I think he's
why not just stay
he's
at
in
home?
his declining years. He's in his declining years, though. Based on the season he had last year, which is a contract year, that's when they go all out.
Right.
They play their best. They put up their best numbers, their career stats in a contract year when they know the money is coming the year after. And Bregman was underwhelming, really. I mean, you know, offensively, he wasn't what he has been in years past. Defensively, he still lights out. The greatest third baseman right now, for my money, Alex Bregman. But he knew all along what he was going to do. I feel like he knew he was always going to go to Boston. He was just waiting for the right offer, maybe. But he got it. You know, him and Mark Wahlberg are buddies. You know, I think he got drafted initially by Boston and ended up, you know, in Houston. But I think he knew all along what he was going to do. Super unfortunate for us here in Houston, but man, hats off to him. He got the deal that he wanted. He got paid, and I think Fenway Park is going to be a very favorable field for him to play on.
Yeah.
The Big Green Monster, and he's a doubles hitter. That's a great park for it. So I think we're going to see a resurgence in his offensive numbers. Very important to note, after each year, there's an opt-out. So if he has a great year next year, he can opt out, hit free agency again, and get the big money deal.
What's going on with Lance McCullers? He's still injured?
He threw a bullpen session, and he's hitting like 89 to 91.
Okay.
So he's getting there. I think they're not planning to play him in spring training, and he's not going to be on the opening day roster. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel for Lance McCullers, at least. Shout out to him. You know, he's got a soft place in all of our hearts. We all love Lance McCullers. But man, dude, he hasn't played a game in like 4 years.
Really? It's been that long?
21 or 22.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's been a while. Like, he hasn't pitched the last couple of seasons.
So how does that work? They still get paid though?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
Dude, that's amazing.
Hey, speaking about getting paid before we get out of here, I know you're trying to wrap shit up, man, but got to talk about our boys. Speaking of being biased, speaking of having favoritism, Diego Lopez taking on Alexander Volkanovski. What is it,
Wow.
UFC 314?
Super excited.
Dude, I'm so excited.
The
In
Featherweight
Miami.
Championship in Miami. Are we
In
going to that,
Miami.
Eric? What are we doing, man?
I'm trying to, what's the date? 12th?
I've got April 12th.
Man, we
Do we have a show on the 11th or 13th?
No.
Might be worth looking into, man.
That might be a, yeah, dude.
I mean,
Do a Fury.
let's
podcast over
make
here.
some phone calls and see if we can, you know, at least get some decent tickets. I don't want to, you know, sit up in the top.
Right.
But Man, that'd be a good one to go to.
That would be a great
Go
one.
see our guy.
That would boost.
Dream, believe, and make it happen.
That's a great
Diego
card.
Lopez. Oh yeah, dude. You also got. God, dog it. I see his face. The guy that
Chandler.
everybody hates. Yeah, man.
Him fighting Patty the
Michael
Batty.
Chandler taking on Patty the Batty in the co-main. I hope those fights stay on, man.
Me too.
Because-
Well, I hope Diego's fight stays on no matter what.
Oh yeah, no matter
That's
what.
the one.
Wouldn't it be cool if we go do a Fury Unleashed over there and have him as a guest?
Yeah. You're the only one who speaks Spanish. So you have to talk more than you talk here. Because you don't say shit.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
Because you don't
I'm
say
busy.
shit. You don't say shit, but look drunk.
Nah, Diego does plenty of talking whenever whenever we lace his drink with a little more alcohol.
I know how you doing over here.
I'm good. No, I'm good.
Just give you that. You got
Nothing.
stuff to do?
I got stuff
Yeah,
to do.
I was gonna take a shot, but then I saw how tall that was. I was like, man,
That's
that's
not
like
bad.
that's like
not bad.
4 shots, man.
No.
It's not?
Yeah.
Oh, that's one. That's
That's
one
one.
shot.
That is
That's
not
one
one
shot.
shot. You
Bro,
guys
that's
are
one shot.
crazy, man. You're nuts, dude. Hey, shout out to our sponsors before we get out here. Dude. Have you been down to the new Space City Collective?
No,
yet?
but I need to.
They
I saw
moved-
you were there.
Yeah, man.
How's that?
I stopped by and checked in. I was in my Clark Kent attire. I was doing Clark Kent duties.
Okay.
Not Superman duties, but I was in the area. So I threw it in the Google Maps real quick. See, how far away am I from them? That's only like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
I gotta stop in. Say what's up to the fellows, man. Shout out to Mitch down there. Great host, show great hospitality. Christian Guzman. Dude, they're still getting moved in, but there's a ton. There's a great selection of kicks on the wall over there. It's like, man, this isn't even everything, man. We're still moving things over. They've got a lot to come, and it's a nice storefront in a great area, man. That Pearland Shopping Center down by towards Dillard's.
So is it
It's where they're located.
closer or further than their old spot? Would you say?
It's a little further.
It's further. It's
But
closer to me.
But yeah, it's still about an hour away from where we are.
Because it was off of 45 and what?
Like
Fuquay?
Fuqua.
Gulf
Before.
Gate, Fuquay. Yeah.
Okay, so right by Gulfgate Mall before,
Yes. Yeah.
and now it's Pearland.
Pearland. Yeah.
Those are my boys, though, man, and they have taken the absolute best care of
Yeah,
us. And hey, I'm loyal. Those are my guys.
Boom.
I love Space City Collective,
Heard that.
no doubt. Real quick too, if they're listening or watching this podcast from a friend's place or whatever, make sure you subscribe to Spotify, YouTube, UFC Fight Pass. Catch our reels everywhere. We post them on YouTube.
We didn't go live on Instagram this one.
I know.
Golly,
Yeah, I
man.
know.
See?
But we're easy to follow. Fury Unleashed podcast. Make sure you catch
Fury
us.
Fighting.
At Fury
Follow us
Fighting on IG.
Instagram.
Yeah, a lot of stuff coming up. 323.
323 is our next Fury here
Fury
in
103.
H-Town at home base escapade at Imagine venues.
Yeah, you gotta subscribe to UFC Fight Pass to catch these cards. Catch all past Fury FC action.
For real, man. It's worth the price you pay.
Submission Hunter Pro.
Go back and watch 102 of our best events. Well, maybe not that many. They came around like
Now we started at what, 40?
44.
Man, we've done a lot.
44, I believe, was the first one.
And that was in 21.
Yeah.
Man, we've knocked out quite a bit of events in the last 4 years.
It's a lot of action to go catch up on.
We're coming up on
UFC
60
Fight Pass. If you don't have a subscription, it's worth
60
it.
events.
Yeah, man.
Warbringer Whiskey.
The-
Shout out. Real quick, man. Thank you so much to Warbringer Whiskey.
The cock of the walk. Do they put their money where their mouth is,
They
man?
do.
They send cash down to give to these guys to put on a performance.
And
put
it
on
makes a
show.
difference.
Do
It
they
makes a
sell
great
it?
difference.
Knockouts of the night. Yeah,
What?
man.
Yeah. Specs has it. I think Total Wine has it. And all the venues that we are currently in.
Rich Burmaster has it, but he's not here. That's why we don't have it on the table today.
Yeah, but it's good.
Yeah, man. It's
Get
good
your
stuff.
Warbringer Whiskey
The
with
big beast
brisket.
of bourbon, the cock of the walk.
Yeah, but shout out
Warbringer
for those
whiskey.
bonuses that they give us, man, to give these guys. $500 for KO of the night and first knockout on the main card. It's made a difference because I see guys coming out banging. Kevin Kent picked it up as the first knockout of the night.
During the rules meeting, do you flash that cash like Virgil?
I send Rich back there and he does it.
Here it is.
And he tells them this is what we're going to do. And if there's nothing on the main card, we'll go to the look at the prelims. And if there's a knockout there, we'll give it to them. Somebody's getting that money. But when you offer
If
it on the
nobody
main,
does anything, we're going to the massage parlor with Diego.
yeah, and I will probably go eat brisket.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah, I like that.
That's probably a smarter.
Diego's on his
safer
own.
place to
Diego's
be.
eating his own brisket at the massage parlor.
Throw some sauce on it.
Throw some sauce on it.
Fried rice.
Barbecue sauce.
Some fried rice.
Barbecue
Teriyaki
sauce.
sauce.
Get us out of here, Wayne.
All right, guys. Hey, that's it for us, man. Hey, the time for talk is over. This has been Fury Unleashed.